For our project, we decided to explore the prescription drug price problem currently happening in the United States. The problem stems from the 20-year patent protection that the government gives to pharmaceutical companies. These patents are used to encourage pharmaceutical companies to spend money to develop new drugs by promising them a large window of time in which they have exclusive rights to sell a drug. It gives a company market power, which means that they can influence the market price of the drugs that they sell. There is also no regulation of drug prices, which further compounds the problem by allowing companies to set prices in order to maximize their profits. Because they are incentivized to push their product on consumers during the patent-protected window, we are seeing unprecedented levels of addiction and overdose from prescription drugs, which stems largely from pill mills, which are clinics that individuals can go to specifically to get prescription drugs, and they're highly unregulated, and it's easy to just walk in and get a prescription. The patent protection also creates a lack of competition and reduces consumer choice, as consumers can only purchase one medication until the patent expires and companies produce generic drugs. This problem is evidenced by the recent costs of drugs in the U.S. The prescription drug spending has increased 13.1% in 2014, which was the largest increase in prescription drug spending since 2003. And prescription drugs are also 2 to 6 times more expensive in the U.S. than anywhere else in the world.
There are various harms to consumers that high prescription drug prices cause. The first is adverse health effects. Because prices are so high, many individuals cannot afford to pay for medication they need, and their health further deteriorates because of it. The high prices also reduce discretionary income. This causes consumers' overall well-being to decrease as they can no longer afford other things that would increase their utility. It is also bad for the economy as a whole when consumers have less money in their pockets. The problem also gives consumers a lack of choice until the patent expires, and the company with the patent does not have any company to compete with on prices until their patent expires and generic drugs are made.
A recent and popular example of this problem is Daraprim, which is a drug that's produced by Turing Pharmaceuticals. Daraprim is a drug that treats toxoplasmosis, which is a parasitic disease that causes brain damage and is extremely deadly for individuals with AIDS. Turing's CEO, Martin Shkreli, raised Daraprim prices by 5,000% back in September, which was an increase from $13.50 a pill to $750 a pill. And Shkreli says that both he and Turing shareholders want to maximize profits, and even now says that he would have raised prices higher. With 1.1 million cases of toxoplasmosis in the U.S. every year, it will greatly affect the affordability of the drug in households across the country.
We recommend that the government subsidize pharmaceutical companies' research and development and reduce the patent terms that the companies are able to obtain. It currently costs $1.3 billion on average to bring a new drug into the market. This is partly why prices are so high to begin with, as companies must exceed their research and development spending in order to turn a profit. If you take away at least part of the research and development costs, they will have more incentives to develop drugs and sell them at a lower price. Reducing patent terms on the surface would appear to lower companies' incentive to produce new drugs. However, with the research and development subsidized, they will still be able to turn a good profit with a lower amount of patent protection. Reducing a patent terms would allow generic drugs to be sold sooner and would bring competition and consumer choice to the market, which will allow lower prices for the consumers.
In conclusion, the prescription drug problem in the United States today is caused by 20-year patent protection given to pharmaceutical companies. The patents create a monopoly for the drug, which leads to inflated prices and no alternative choices for consumers. With prescription drug spending in the U.S. higher than any other country in the world, it is clear that something needs to change. We believe that reducing patent terms while subsidizing R&D costs will still incentivize companies to develop new drugs while creating a more fair market for consumers as well as lowering prices.